cool. I've got a short little poem for you. I dig, you dig, she digs, we dig, they dig. That's it. There's my poem. It's not very long, but it's pretty deep. Okay, ha ha ha. All right, let's get to it. Today we are talking about cumulative and relative frequency. Now, this is part of yesterday's or that last video talking about frequency distribution. Okay, it's another column that we add to our table. Now, cumulative is a fancy word that means to add up. Okay, and that's all you're really doing. You're adding numbers up. Now, for relative frequency, what you're doing here is you are finding the probability. So we've kind of done that before. Just don't forget that your probability is always number of favorable over your number of total. That's how we'll look at that. And if you want to change it to a percentage, give me your fraction times it by 100. Okay, now, this is what it's going to look like. It says for the table below, we want to add in a cumulative frequency column and a relative frequency column as well. So what this table means so far, we're used to our score and frequency, our X and F. Sometimes for cumulative frequency, we call that CF. And for relative frequency, we don't often call it RF, but I'll put it in there just in case. Okay, so it's saying that the score 3 comes up 8 times, the score 4 comes up 12 times, and the score 5 comes up 10 times. Now, what we're doing here is if it's cumulative, I kind of want you to add it up. So that means by the time I've done my score 3, I've counted a total of 8 scores. Okay. Now, what we're going to do here is once I've gotten to score number 4, I've counted an extra 12. And so I add these two numbers together. So I go 8 plus 12. I've now counted up to a total of 20 scores because that's 8 plus 12. Okay, just in case you didn't see where that came from. All right, and then what we do now here is by the time I've counted all the 5th scores or score number 5, I've got 20 scores previously. I've got 10 of these scores. That means it's going to be 20 plus 10. And that's going to give me a total of 30 scores. Okay, and that means that there's a total of 30 people doing this table information thing. Now, relative frequency, remember, it's just going to be your probability. So for these ones here, I'm going to keep them as, I guess, fractions. Now, frequency, relative frequency is, again, I'm going to touch on this, favorable over total. Okay, so if I'm talking about this column here, and I'll try to stick here. If I've got a score of 3, how often am I going to get this score of 3? Well, I'm going to get it 8 out of a total of how many times? I know altogether there was 30 times. So that would be 8 out of 30. And you can definitely simplify this to 4 on 25. And you can change that to a percent, but I'm happy to keep that as a fraction. Let's continue on. For the scores of 4, what's the relative frequency of getting a 4? Well, we know that we got 4 12 times out of the total of, we know the total is 30. And again, you can simplify this to 6 on 15, which I probably should have simplified to 2 over 5. And then for your last one here, how many times did we get the score 5? Well, we got it 10 times. That's our frequency. Out of a total of how many were there altogether? 30. So simplified, that would be 1/3. Okay. And that would be how you add your cumulative and your relative. Just don't forget your cumulative means we add up. And your relative means we find the probability. Hope that makes sense. If it didn't, pause it, rewatch it until it makes enough sense. Okay, peace out. See you guys later. Bye.